And we're back on the Fowler Show, and it's time for the policy breakdown. Now, you're probably going to hate me, but I really don't care on this particular point, because I'm talking about the same topic that I've talked about for more policy breakdowns than any other topic known to man that I've talked about. The student loan debt crisis in America. Yes, I'm doing it again. I will talk about this issue until we get more attention from members of Congress, more attention from the progressive movement, more attention from Democrats about this issue. Here's the story for you. The total outstanding student loan debt has hit record levels, recently topping it'll be $100 billion or $1 trillion. Or $1,000 billion, but $1 trillion, either way. This translates a heavy financial burden onto young graduates. We already know these things to be true. But the Progressive Policy Institute, my friends over there, love them to death. They did some calculations, and they found that people under 30 are spending close to $43.5 billion every year paying back student loans, which is about 7% of their total annual income. What else could be bought with these student loans? Or this $43 billion? Here's a couple things that could have been bought. You could have bought 155,000 new homes. Yes, I said it. You could have bought 300,000 or about 300,000 Audis R8s. That's the Iron Man car from the movie The Iron Man. You could have bought 66 million new iPhone 5s. You could have taken almost 500 billion. Yes. I mean, excuse me. You could have excuse me. I said 500 billion. 500. You could have taken 500 million trips to Disney World, and you could have taken 22 billion. You could have bought 22 billion Happy Meals. And what makes matters worse is that this burden continues to grow. The Federal Reserve found that the number of borrowers and the average amount of debt per borrow has risen by 70% since 2004. The number of new homes that these graduates could buy instead of paying for their student loan back is particularly striking given the fact that the home ownership rate has cratered in this country to under 40%. I mean, it's crazy to me, right? People aren't buying homes, right? Home ownership rates have, I'm just so speechless when it comes to this topic because I don't understand why nobody is talking about it. Nobody is talking about this topic whatsoever. But just think about the impact that this could have had if this year those Americans that are paying on the student loan debt bought 150,000 homes. What would that do for our economy? That would have created new communities, 150,000 different mortgages, 150,000 different people going to the grocery store, 150 different thousand people going to Home Depot. It would have created jobs. It would have built infrastructure in this country. But yet, they're paying down a burden of debt that, to be perfectly honest, America, as much as it is personal responsibility for taking on the debt, they took on a debt trying to live up to what America tells you is the truth. America says, go to college, get a good education, and you'll be successful. That's what they tell you. So what do students do? And I was one of those students. I'm not going to sit here and say that this issue is not a personal one for me, because it is very personal for me. Yes, it's personal. Get over it. But the truth of the matter is they tell you, you go to school, you come out, you get a good job, you become a valuable member of society, you'll pay off, you'll be part of the middle class. That's what they tell you. But these young people, just like myself, are struggling to barely make it out of the working class in this country because there are no opportunities when they graduate. And beyond the fact there are no opportunities when they graduate, they are burdened down with so much debt. 7% of your income, on average, goes to paying off your school tuition. You see the problem here? As tuition continues to rise, right? There's going to be more and more debt. We've already hit $1 trillion. I guarantee you, within 2 or 3 years, we'll be at our second $1 trillion. This debt keeps mounting and compounding, and yet we've heard nothing from Washington. Washington has been completely silent. No bills, no movement, nothing from the White House, nothing from Congress, nothing from the Senate, nothing from Democrats, clearly nothing from Republicans. There's a couple of people who've stood out and said we need to do more. We've heard from Karen Bass. We've heard from Henson Clark. We've heard from Frederica Wilson. Need to do more. We got to do something about this. We've heard from Bobby Scott. Got to do something about this. These members of Congress, the few brave ones that have stood up, right? They are the canaries, and I've been talking about canaries a lot. They are the canaries in the coal mine saying, hey, pay attention. This could get worse. They're not the only ones, though. Even Wall Street. Every now and then you pick up the Financial Times. Every now and then you pick up the Wall Street Journal. And you see them say, the student loan debt crisis, this might be a problem. Yet, Republicans are silent. Yet, Washington is silent. Yet, the White House is silent. Yeah, they want to fix the problem. I hear them. They want to fix the problem for students who are getting ready to enter college. But that still does not solve the fact there's $1 trillion of debt floating on top of the heads of young people in this country. When you're talking about $43 billion being paid every year in student loans, we're talking about a serious crisis. A serious crisis that demands immediate attention. I would argue that this crisis is on par with the mortgage crisis. It's on par with immigration. It's on par with gun control. This issue is on par with all of those, and this issue is a serious threat to our nation's national security. Yes, I said it. Our nation's national security. If young people aged 18 to 35 cannot buy homes, if they can't invest in the economy, if they're burdened down by debt, how can we maintain our economic strength? Beyond maintaining our economic strength, what happens when people start defaulting on their loans? Right? And defaulting on your loans mean you can't pay them back, means you're not making enough income, meaning you're not paying into the tax, meaning you can't fund our military. You see where I'm going with this. And beyond all those points, you stop the spur of innovation. What makes America great is that we are innovative people. That goes away when you are burdened down in debt. You need to find a job to pay your debt, and not a job that makes you happy and a job that makes you an innovator or an inventor or an entrepreneur. Remember, innovators and entrepreneurs, that's what wins wars, America. Think about it. In World War II, if it wasn't for people like if it wasn't for the automakers, their ability to turn their factories over in an instant to produce planes and ships and tanks for our men and women serving, or our men at the time, no, women weren't serving, our men serving on the battlefield, we would not be the country we are today. If it were not for people like Albert Einstein, who didn't have to worry about a student loan debt, he got an education, he came to this country, and he became an innovator, we would not be the country that we are today. You understand where I'm going with this? If we want to create those type of innovators, the Henry Fords, the Einsteins, the Carnegies, the people who create true and real industry, we have to solve the student loan debt crisis. And the only way we can solve it is if Washington steps up and do their job. And the sad part here, and the caveat here, is that when it came to Wall Street, when Wall Street needed a bailout, Washington got it done in seconds. When the auto industry, not saying they didn't deserve it, when the auto industry needed a bailout, Washington had it done in seconds. When the students, when the young people in this country are demanding Washington, saying, we need help, we're struggling, we're in trouble, Washington, silent, asleep at the switch, like a speed bump. Nothing from Washington. Where is Washington, I ask? Where is Washington, I ask tonight? Where are they as we struggle through this crisis? Will they come when it's too late? Will they come when there's nothing left to be done? That is the question that we must ask ourselves. When will Washington stand up and say we're going to defend the students and defend the people? They won't, America. They need you to do it. We're back on the Fowler after this break.